Hey everybody, ronarray here, and since Kingsmarch is still in the game in 3.26 and from the Settlers some things are changed, I wanted to showcase how exactly I'm utilizing my own Kingsmarch, what kind of shipments I've been sending, and what in my opinion would be the most profitable way that you can get in the current league. So in this video I will showcase everything about my Kingsmarch, what kind of crop I'm getting, like how high the level of my workers, what I'm focusing on, and also will share my opinion about the best type of shipments which can lead you to mirror shards. Let's go! In this video I'm also going to showcase both 50 millions and 17 millions shipments, so you will be able to compare the loot yourselves. And that's a pretty nice setup, because it's much easier to understand what are the chances to get something good. But keep in mind that most of the time your shipments are still random, so rewards may differ depending on your luck. And talking about the Kingsmarch in general, the first and probably the most important part in setting up your Kingsmarch right now, it's pretty much getting all your farmers to level 5. So some people are running like level 4 farmers or even level 3. So basically you really need level 5 because you're going to maximize amount of crops you're going to generate per hour, which is very important right now. More crops will lead to more shipments, and more shipments are going to provide much more currency for you. So every time when you're starting your Kingsmarch, make sure you always have like your farmers rank 5, all of them, because it's going to improve your profit significantly. And for the rest of the roles, I'm pretty much running higher level of guys too, but for example mining, I'm usually just running like only 1, 2 level 5, and the rest is like level 4 or even lower, because I'm not really picking that much ore and they're just going to help each other anyway, so I don't really feel like I need more. However, if you're running like a Kalguur strategy in general, you can get additional miners to yourself. So the same goes for smelting. Most of the time you shouldn't have a lot of issues with it, but I usually just have like 6 smelters, all the maximum rank, just for convenience. You're also not paying your guys when they're like idle, so don't worry about it. If they have completely nothing to do, you're going to be absolutely fine, just like completely ignoring them. And same goes for shipment. When we are talking about shipments, I would just recommend to get like maximum level shippers for at least 2 ships. Most of the time you will probably need 1, but having 2 is pretty convenient considering you're not paying your guys when they're doing nothing. So right after you got like maximum level farmers, next step is pretty much just getting maximum level disenchanters. I'm currently running like all level 5 disenchanters, and I'm disenchanting a lot of stuff. So most of the time I'm just focusing on like higher dust items, but I'm also disenchanting a lot of basic items too if I currently don't have like tier 0s for it. So it's completely up to you. If you have a lot of gold, you can pretty much disenchant random trash too, but if you don't have a lot of gold, I would recommend to just focus on tier 0. And talking about tier 0, right now you have basically 2 proper options in terms of what's going to work for disenchantment. For tier 0, we have like Rakiatas and Divinarius. Rakiata is providing 2 millions and 700k. Make sure that you have like quality on your Rakiatas, because that way you're going to receive more dust from it. And Divinarius providing 2 millions and 400k. Considering the current prices at the moment when I'm filming this, I'm preferring getting more Divinarius than Rakiata, because I think it's much easier to buy, it's less price fixed, and it's better value for the current price. However, Rakiata is a pretty decent option too if you can get it like something between 2 and 3 divines, and I think it's going to be a very good option going forward too. So about Divinarius, most of the time I prefer just buy those, and I think it's providing very good amount of dust in general. So you don't even need to disenchant anything else. You can just get like a set of divinarios, disenchant all of them, and on top of it you will be able to get enough dust for all possible shipments that you would like to do. You can also go for like tier 1 uniques if you prefer, but generally I think going for tier 0 pretty much worth it, and if you don't have tier 0 at hand, I'm usually just disassembling random stuff that I found. So now let's talk about the mappers. Generally, I'm not running mappers that often, mostly because they eat a lot of gold and not really generating a lot of currency. But if you're running mappers, I heavily recommend to just run like 5 level mappers and the full set, like 6 of them. For the mappers, you will be better if you're just going to run like 8 mod maps, something like estuaries that I have right here. So most of the time, if I'm running mappers, I'm using just like 8 mod maps for them. You can also add like some additional things to it. Some people are recommending Delirium, for example. Some other people are recommending to run just like particular setups or even 16.5. I've seen even strategies when people are running like tier 17 with mappers. But right now, I would say the best profit from mappers that I had is pretty much coming from just 8 mod maps that they're running constantly when I have additional gold. I'm not over-focusing on that too much, because constantly generating both gold and maps to run your mappers non-stop could be a little annoying, and there's like a lot of additional ways how you can generate currency. But if you're up to it, I would definitely recommend to run like 8 mod maps that you're receiving and which had like bad layouts or just normal tier 16s, because you're probably not going to run them yourself anyway. So when we are talking about shipment, we basically have 2 options. One of that is pretty much sending 50 million shipment value, and the second option is sending 70 million shipment value. In that video, I'm going to showcase the results of both, so like 50 millions against 17. But generally, 50 millions will cost significantly more and will require more preparation. But there's like bigger chances that you're going to receive something. 17 millions will be significantly easier to prepare, but there's a proper chance that you're going to receive nothing. Well, even when you're running 50 million shipment, there's still chance that you're going to receive nothing, like no mirror shards, but it's pretty low. And for 17 millions, you could do like a lot of random runs, like 5, 6, and still receive nothing from all of them. So for 50 million shipment value, we will need to use 25 millions of dust, and the rest is pretty much coming from various crops. So the biggest difference right here, when you run in 70 millions, you will need to use only 2 types of crops because that's the most efficient current way. It could be any types, but most of the time people just run like wheat and corn, because those are kind of faster to produce. And for 50 millions, you will need to run all types of crops. So that's affecting what you're going to grow in your plots. So generally, if you're going to focus on 50 millions, you will need to get like blue xanthium together with just like wheat or ground, corn, and pumpkin, so all type of crops. However, if you're going to focus on 17 millions instead, I recommend to just get corn and wheat, so like double corn here and double wheat here. And the last one, it could be like 1 corn and 1 blue xanthium, just in case. So that's my current recommendation for shipments. And here's an example of shipments that I'm sending with dust. And let me make sure that we have like 0 right here. So 50 million shipment value, that's pretty much it. And most of the time, I recommend to just send crops to ribbon file because that's probably the fastest way how you can get it. So all type of crops, make sure that you're sending all types, because if you will send only one type, you will get like worse rewards on average. So done, like 50 millions, and that one goes in. and here my 17 million shipment too. So for the 70 millions, just make sure that you're passing like 70 millions itself, and you will need to have at least like 8.5 million of dust, and you can run like various crops. But the most effective way if you're focusing on 70 millions is just like running wheat and corn, so make sure that you're adding both like wheat and corn half by half. If you have any other type of crops, like additional ones, you can run any of them or even send like all crops at the same time. Your rewards are going to be good. Just make sure you're not sending one type, because one type for 70 millions is not working good. So right here, my second shipment goes there. And on top of it, there's also additional things that you can use for Ngekanu. So for Ngekanu, you can just send a lot of ore, and sending ore, especially Verisium to Ngekanu, is pretty much the way how you're going to receive tattoos and additional bonuses too. So sending like from 500k for smaller sets up to 15 millions of ore to Ngekanu is going to provide a pretty good bonuses and especially expensive tattoos. So if you have excessive ore, I definitely recommend to send them in bunch, focusing on at least like 5 millions. And you can go higher and higher and higher with that, depending on how much ore you even have. I don't really recommend to spend dust for it, because that could be a little too annoying at the current moment. But otherwise you should be absolutely fine, so make sure you're sending your ore to Ngekanu. So now let's see the results from both shipments that I sent. First off is a 50 million shipments. So right here, I pretty much got 0 mirror shards, but 3 sacred orb could all be transformed. So from 50 millions, as you can see, I pretty much just received basic set of runes, like some divines, and in general, it's closer to losing currency if you're unlucky and not receiving a single proper shard. So even when you're doing the 50 millions, you could still fail that part. So in 10 seconds, we're going to finish that part. I'm not going to take the runes for now, and that's like a 17 millions that we had before. So yeah, let's take that part out, and here it is. As you can see, 17 millions bought me mirror shard. So mirror shard right now is approximately like 40 divines, and there are also like 3 sacred orbs. Considering any of them could be like transformed further, and I could get even more currency. So as you can see, sometimes with 50 millions you can get nothing, and sometimes with 17 you can still get like dedicated shard. So right now I honestly believe that going for 70 millions probably going to be safer, but sometimes you're receiving nothing with that as well, even if the setup is easier. So judge that experiment the way you want, because there's like a lot of RNG involved with shipments. But as you can see, mirror shards are pretty much real, and I received a few before from both like 50 and 17 million shipments. So both options are working. Just pick the one that suits your gameplay the best.